Hello and welcome to another day of LSAT prep with me, your humble host, Tony. You can see it's a different setting. We're in my backyard here and haven't uploaded for a few days. So for those of you who've been following along, sorry about the delay or the kind of gap here. Last week, was it last week? Or was it earlier this week? I think it's earlier this week. Yeah, I kind of just on a whim, I said, man, I'm going to take a test. It was Tuesday. I was going to get up and take a test. So I got up, took a test, bombed at 147. Really discouraging. Didn't do anything the rest of the day. And so set up a meeting with a new tutor from LSAT Max. So really great resources there. They were able to hook me up with a tutor who has scored 180. And he actually was able to give me a study plan. One thing that I don't think that LSAT Max does super well in their course material is to establish your review method for you. I don't remember looking at any course work that showed a review method, and so I think that's a real area of opportunity for their study course. And that is when you do your review, having a guided way of doing it. And that may be that you learn more by building your own system, or each person is different. So I'm very new at this. I don't claim to be an expert and be able to kind of advise them on what they ought to do. But in my experience, or from my perspective here, I kind of think that a guided review process would have been better, at least some direction, like here's how to do a review. Here's how to maybe here's some worksheets or some interactive areas of the website where you can go through your test. That would be really cool if you could sort of go through the test, and on questions you got wrong, you could it would categorize them for you, and you could say why you got it wrong, and you could tell it, hey, I guessed on this one because I was just out of time on the last few, or something like that. That would be really cool. That would be really helpful to people who are trying to study. So in lieu of that, I was able to get hooked up with Ravi, who is a tutor there at LSAT Max. Can't say enough great things about it. And Chris was excellent too. He got me to where he could get me. I mean, he helped me get a 111 point gain and kind of stay there. So thank you to Chris for that. And now hopefully Ravi will help me get to the next level, my next peak. He's given me a really rigorous study schedule where I'm going to be doing timed sections every day. I think 3 timed sections every day, and reviewing them. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then on Fridays, I'm taking a test. I've pretty much relinquished myself to the October test. I'm probably still going to take August just to see, the difference between your, what the difference might be between your practice test scores and your real score. I understand. I mean, it just makes sense that you're probably going to get a little lower on your real test than your practice tests, because I just think that there's pressures, and when I've looked around on the internet, these are unverified and anecdotal, but people say that they get a lower score on their real LSAT than they're getting on their practice tests. So anyway, I'll probably be uploading less often, probably once a week or so, basically when I have something to say, because pretty much right now it's going to be practice and review. I think maybe I'll do a video when I get some time on what this review process is, and the spreadsheet that I made, and I may even share the spreadsheet. I think the spreadsheet's really useful for the review process, and if I explain through how it's used, then I think that would be really, really cool for people to have. So I will work on maybe a video for that. That would be helpful for everybody. And that's pretty much all I have to say for today. Like I said, I did a 147 on Tuesday, and then yesterday I tested and got a 151. So I'm back to my 151. At least I didn't slip. But hopefully this review process, one thing I would say about the 147 and one thing I would say about the 151. So here we go. On the 147, I tried a new method, which obviously didn't work, which is read the question and I don't know what these are called, the part that's the actual question, not the passage. Read the question part first. And when you read that question part first, some people say that you're better able to address the passage because you know what you're looking for. But I didn't find that to be helpful. Um, and the tutor that I'm working with now, Ravi, he says that's not a good way to go. He says basically what you want to do is you want to read the passage diagnostically, look for the premises, look for the, or look, identify the premises, identify the conclusion, identify how they interact with one another. If there are not premises and conclusion, identify the different parts of the passage and what part they play. One thing that he said that I had never heard before, which is how the premises and the conclusion, if it's an argument, relate to one another. And how they play against one another in the argument. Do they, are the premises leading up to the argument in a way that, guarantees it? Are there missing premises? Are the premises stated as an example? Do you have cause and effect? Correlation, causation, all those kinds of different things. So that's with the 147 score. So I think that probably I dropped 4 points. It wasn't a very good test day. I could feel it, but that's what I'm trying to manage here. Is it shouldn't be that I get up and I feel some way a certain day and get a really bad score because of that. We need to be developing skills that pay the bills no matter what. You know what I mean? Skills that are just built in. You may be a little better at skills one day, but you shouldn't have. I was what would that be, like a 5-point drop? Shouldn't happen. So reading the question first and then going to the passage didn't work for me on the one time I tried it. So, and the other thing I'll say about this 151 that I got on Friday, after talking to Ravi and after doing 2 days of his study program that he set up for me, I felt when I was addressing the questions, I felt more clinical about it. After having spoken with him and looking at his review process, and really we didn't talk anything about technical logic details. We did not go into any sort of lecture or teaching about certain aspects of logic. When we talked, it was an hour of test planning. He heard my story, and I kind of summarized it for him real well in my request for a meeting. So he pretty much already knew the story, and there was really not much to fill in. So most of the time was him explaining how he does his review process, and some of it was the not reading the question the question first and reading the passage first and reading it diagnostically. So when after that meeting and after doing a couple of days of his review process, I found that when I was reading the questions, reading the passages throughout, especially logical reasoning, I was much more able to, or I felt more clinical about it. I felt more, maybe stronger is a word, I guess. I just felt better about my ability to identify the parts of the passage, and I was doing less of reading it like I'm reading the newspaper or some period piece or some piece of interest that I'm reading. I was not reading with interest. I was reading clinically, and that's a new thing for me. I feel that I've kind of built a foundation now. Hopefully that foundation will launch me deep into the upper areas of the test of scoring. So that's what I have to say about the 151, is that I feel a lot more able to clinically look at the passages, and I think that as time goes on I should get faster at that, and that may take some time, but that's okay. I've got another couple of months to hone that in between now and October test. That will kind of put a little stress on me, and I'm trying not to go too far into detail here, just because you may not care about this, but I'm doing a little degree sort of repair effort here. I have a degree in biblical studies with biblical languages, but I don't have a degree that's accredited that would let me get into law school, so I have to add liberal arts to it. And so it's going to make it more difficult on me not going to school in the fall. I'm going to be doing something else which will give me some credits, but Anyway, all that to say, thank you for watching, and look for, you know, maybe a couple of videos a week or one video a week or something like that. I'll basically get on here when I have something to say, and I'll try to put together that video on Ravi's tutoring or his review method, and maybe upload that spreadsheet. Have to clean it up a little bit, get my scores and stuff out of there so it's useful. But anyway, hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. Press the LSAT.